Hey everybody, this is Jeff coming to you with our 35th edition of the Good News from Good News Gathering. When I think about the fact that this is our 35th edition, I'm amazed at how quickly this time has gone by. When we started these videocasts, we were emerging from the winter months and heading into spring. The temperatures were still cool, but starting to climb. The trees were beginning to bud. And despite the coronavirus, people were emerging from their winter hibernation to get outside and enjoy some fresh air. Then summer came, and the warmth of the sun produced growth. The grass turned brilliant green and needed to be cut almost every week. The trees and flowers were in full bloom. Then fall came, and the leaves changed, and by now most have fallen. The temperature is cooling down. People are raking leaves and preparing for winter. Now, this changing of the seasons reminded me of something important. Have you ever noticed that nature seems to pay little attention to what's happening among us human beings? Think about it. 2020 has witnessed a worldwide pandemic, and yet spring turned into summer, just like it has from time immemorial. And 2020 has delivered us one of the most contentious election seasons on record. And still summer turned into fall, right on schedule, just like it always has. And winter is coming in the not too distant future. And it will come, regardless of where we are with the pandemic or who is occupying the White House. And I don't know about you, but I think there's a lesson for us in the changing of the seasons, if we'll look for it. If we look beyond nature itself, beyond simply the changing of the seasons, to, as our founding fathers used to say, to the laws of nature and nature's God, we see a God who is permanent and unchanging. A God who set the universe in place, the earth in orbit, and the seasons in motion. And these things are fixed, regardless of what we humans say or do. Perhaps that's why in Scripture, God is repeatedly referred to as the rock. In Deuteronomy 32, 3 and 4, Moses says, "I will proclaim the name of the Lord. O praise the greatness of our God. He is the rock. His works are perfect, and all his ways are just. A faithful God who does no wrong, upright and just is he." Now, when you think of a rock, you think of something that simply is what it is. You cannot change it, you can't mold it, you can't shape it to suit you. You can't break it to lessen its strength. It is what it is, and it does not change. It's stable, permanent. And Moses assures us that God is the rock. And what flows from the fact that God is the rock? Notice what Moses said. First, he said, his works are perfect. There is a purity and a goodness in all his works. Second, he says, and all his ways are just. All that he does is just and right. And third, he refers to him as a faithful God. In other words, his word is trustworthy and true. He does what he says he will do. And then he says, who does no wrong. He cannot and does not engage in evil. And finally, upright and just is he. And this is a summary statement of what Moses has previously stated. Upright simply means righteous and just, always doing the right thing. That's God, the creator of the universe. But the real question is this: is he my rock? Is he your rock? In Psalm 18:2, David wrote a very telling statement. And this psalm was written at a time when God had delivered him from a king who, out of jealousy, had attempted to kill him numerous times, and foreign enemies encroaching on the Israelite homeland. And David makes a statement about who it was that sustained him through years of running and hiding for his life, to the point that for a time he even lived in a cave. David wrote this. He said, "The Lord is my rock, my fortress and my deliverer. My God is my rock, in whom I take refuge." He repeats that phrase, God is my rock, the constant, unchanging, immovable bedrock upon which he stakes his life, the rock that keeps him stable through the storms of life. And the question for us remains, is he our rock, the constant, unchanging, immovable bedrock upon which we stake our lives? Is he? You see, if he is, if God is our rock, then our whole perspective on life takes a very different turn. We're no longer reduced to fear in the face of a pandemic. Why? Because God is our rock, and his word assures us we're no longer crushed if an election doesn't turn out the way we had hoped. Why? Because God is our rock. Our hope is not in a political party or a government or whoever gets to occupy the White House. God and God alone is our rock. And regardless of what we may face as the result of this or any other election, we can carry on with joy, with perseverance, and with hope, because God is our rock. We will continue to live our daily lives as God would have us to live them. We don't need time off work or days out of school to mourn the result of any election. We don't retreat to safe spaces that prohibit the presence of anyone with an opposing point of view. And we don't curl up with a comfort dog because something in life doesn't go our way. Why? Because God is our rock. And so we will carry on as Christians with joy, meeting together with our church family, growing more like Christ, serving others in our community, and reaching out to those who are far from God. And we can do this regardless of pandemics and regardless of who's in power in Washington, D.C. Why? Because God is our rock. And that, friends, is good news. I love you all, and I hope to see you this Sunday. And we'll get together again next week for more good news.